Hello YouTube, in today's video we're going to talk about some of the nutrition mistakes that you're possibly making that are killing your gains. So just before we start, I want to mention that I already filmed a video on training mistakes that are killing your gains, so I suggest you go watch this one as well. But for today's video we're focusing on nutrition mistakes, so let's get straight into it. First nutrition mistake that many people nowadays are making is simply not eating high quality enough food. And what I mean by that is that we live in 2022 and we have pretty much alternatives for everything. So people are getting spoiled and they are replacing the real high quality foods like, I don't know, beef liver, chicken, fish, eggs, avocados, some high quality dairy, fruits, vegetables, oats, potatoes, and so on, with all those new modern day alternatives for like ice cream. So they're eating like protein ice cream, protein puddings, protein pancakes, protein bread, protein pizza, protein pasta, protein I don't know what, vegan this, vegan that, you know. And oftentimes all these foods are really like micronutrient deprived, so they don't contain any micronutrients at all, or if they do, they contain very little. And on the other hand, oftentimes they have poor amino acid profiles, so not very high quality protein. And they oftentimes also contain all these like sugar alcohols that can really screw up your digestion, causing digestion, bloating, diarrhea. And yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that it's wrong if you include some protein bars, protein pancakes, protein puddings in your diet here and there, but definitely don't be replacing your meat and eggs with protein pizza just because your favorite Instagram influencer or TikTok influencer told you that all that matters, bro, is that you hit your daily protein intake and your macros, and that's it, then you're fine. Like, sure, like if you just want to look like you lift, then yeah, probably you can get away with doing this. But if you want to really optimize the way you look, the way you feel, the way you perform in the gym, then you need to mostly stick to real foods. And by that I mean foods with good amino acid profile, if those are protein foods, then foods with good micronutrient profile, and foods that are easy for you to digest. So moving on to second mistake that is really closely correlated to the first one. I wanted to put it into the first one, but I think it deserves a separate place so we can talk a little bit more about it. So that is eating foods that you don't digest well. So I really see no point in you bulking and eating, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 calories per day if you're not properly digesting the food that you eat. So I have an experience with a client of mine that he was like a really skinny guy. He was struggling to gain weight, and I was like, okay, I need to push his food up, you know. He will be eating 6,000, 7,000 calories if necessary, you know. And I was like upping his food, like okay, he didn't gain weight, we'll up the food more. And he was literally like, he didn't gain weight, he started to literally lose weight because his digestion was shit, you know. He was getting diarrhea, he wasn't digesting, he wasn't absorbing the food properly, you know. So then we lowered the food, we fixed the digestion, and even though we lowered the calories for like 2,000 plus, he started to gain weight because he improved his digestion and his nutrient absorption. So digestion really plays a key role in bodybuilding. So if you're eating stuff that is messing up your digestion and you're noticing that you're not absorbing the food properly and you're just like shitting it out as soon as you eat it, and you get diarrhea and all this stuff, you know, then you need to do something about it, you know. You need to replace the food, like have a diary, like track down like what you eat, what foods you eat. Like maybe the best it is to have a meal plan, you know. And if you notice that you don't go well with some food, that you're not digesting it well, then just like throw it out and replace it with some other food source, you know. So don't be eating foods that you don't digest well. So moving on to third nutrition mistake that is also very closely correlated to the first one, but I think it also deserves a separate spot because I want to talk a little bit more about it. And that is you are micronutrient deprived because you're focusing only on hitting your macros and your protein, but you're not focusing on fulfilling your micronutrient needs. So that is very important. Like if you're micronutrient deprived, you will feel worse, you will perform worse, and you will make less gains than if you have all your micronutrients available. So let me ask you a question, like how many of you watching this video are focusing on your micronutrient intake? Like probably yes, you're tracking your protein, you're tracking your carbs, you're tracking your fats, but are you really making sure that you have enough potassium, that you have enough magnesium, that you have enough sodium, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin E, vitamin C? Like are you tracking your vitamins and minerals like probably not. Like majority of you are probably not doing that. So and I mean, it's not necessary that you do that, because there is a very easy fix for that. You know, you just need to eat unprocessed foods that are micronutrient dense. So you should not be doing mistake number one, and you're pretty much fine. You pretty much don't really need to track your micronutrients. But if you're eating all this processed stuff, modern day, like protein ice cream, protein pizza, protein bread, rice, you know, all these micronutrient deprived foods, and even if you're eating 8,000 calories per day, you'll have some major micronutrient deficiencies. And then the other solution to that would be to take a multivitamin in pills. But again, the question is like, how well do we actually absorb those multivitamins? And probably it also depends on a brand. Like some can have very shitty absorbable forms and you don't absorb shit. Some others can have some good multivitamins. So like, first focus on getting your micronutrients from foods, because I think that's the best way to get them. But if you somehow can't get them all from foods, then sure, you can add them in supplements, but just don't be micronutrient deficient, because that is killing your gains. And that's it for mistake number 3. Moving on to mistake number 4. Again, I mean, first, again, correlated to the first one, but deserves a separate spot. So that is not eating high quality enough protein. I also have a YouTube video on protein where I discuss protein into details. So I suggest you go watch this video too in case you're interested. So what I mean by not consuming high quality enough protein, again, by consuming those poor quality proteins with bad amino acid profile. Like the amino acid profile of the protein determines how good this protein is and how it will be used in the body. So focus on consuming mostly proteins that are that have good amino acid profile, that contain all or at least almost all amino acids in them. So focus on eating things like meats, fish, eggs, egg whites, some high quality dairy, like for example curd or high protein yogurts, Greek yogurt, skyr yogurt, quark yogurt, that stuff, you know, or for example whey protein powder, casein protein powder, things like that, you know, and avoid the things with the proteins with poor amino acid profile. So that's it. Now moving on to next mistake, that is mistake number 5, and that is not eating protein frequently enough. So our body can store carbohydrates, our body can store fats, but we can't really like store the protein for the later use, for the later muscle protein synthesis. So you need a constant delivery of protein if you want to be building muscle optimally. So what I mean by that, if you are eating only 1 to 2 meals per day, you can't maximize your gains because you're not activating your muscle protein synthesis for all 24 hours, but you're just activating it for certain periods of time in the day. When if you eat, for example, 4, 5 or 6 meals in a day, protein meals, then you are pretty much stimulating your muscle protein synthesis throughout the whole 24 hours, and you are really optimizing your gains by doing that. So to conclude, you should eat around 4 or more protein meals per day. So I don't recommend you to eat less than 4, because that way you're really not optimizing your gains. So I usually tell to people to stick around 5 meals per day, 5 protein meals, and then you're pretty much good. And then 6th and the last mistake is not eating enough protein and not eating enough calories. So let's first start with the protein. In order to optimize your gains, you need to eat enough high quality protein. Now, we are not talking about eating enough protein to survive or to not catabolize, but eating enough protein to maximize the muscle gain. So I think you should be eating minimum of 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Actually, I think like it depends on how high your carbs and fats are, because carbs and fats have protein sparing effect. So if you have like really high of those, then you need a little bit less protein, because protein is not being used for energy in that case. But in any case, I would say you should eat minimum of 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, but I would actually do it even more. I would usually do it with both myself and my clients around 3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, because I rather have slightly excess protein than not enough protein, you know, because I really want to optimize my muscle gain. So that's about the protein. Now moving on to not eating enough calories. So like you need to understand that in order to maximize your muscle gains, you need to be eating in a slight caloric surplus, you know. Of course, you can still gain muscle in a calorie deficit or even on maintenance, but we're here talking about maximizing the muscle growth and mistakes that are killing your gains. So if you are now in the place to do a bulk, and instead of bulking, you're just not eating enough, you're under eating calories, then that's really a mistake, because like you should be eating more, you should be eating in slight calorie surplus, so you maximize your muscle growth. And that's pretty much it for today's video. To conclude on short, you need to be mostly eating high quality, unprocessed, micronutrient rich foods that you digest well. Micronutrient dense, so you have no micronutrient deficiencies, because that is killing your gains. Digest well, because you want to have good digestion, because bad digestion is killing your gains. High quality, because quality of the food matters, and especially quality of the protein. You want high quality protein, not poor quality protein. And then also we said you need to be eating protein frequently enough, so at least minimum of 4 protein meals spread throughout the day, but I would recommend you to eat 5 just to be sure. And then also we said you need to be eating enough protein. I would say somewhere around 3 grams per kilogram of body weight, and you need to be eating enough calories. Preferably you would want to be in a calorie surplus. So that's it for today's video. Hope you find my video useful. Like always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to support the channel's growth. If you need online coaching, hit me up on Instagram, and like always, see you in the next video.